Greetings, hello, welcome on in. Unoptimized Fool here, and we're not in the closet anymore. We're actually out here in the office. There's been changes obviously going around. Things have been moved around. Hopefully you enjoyed the changes. Hopefully you like it. If not, let me know. Now today, obviously, we're going to talk about World of Warcraft. Now, Midnight was just announced. Obviously, we knew about it, but we now know a ton of information. Now, this is going to be the first video talking about all of the different things that's coming out in this expansion. Now, the first video that I want to put out is talking about the cinematic, kind of analyzing cinematic, giving my honest opinions, and also kind of covering some controversy, right? There's some issues with the cinematic that people have been pointing out. So I want to talk about that today, but let's get into it. Alrighty, guys, so the expansion reveal trailer has the official name of Intercession. Now, they gave the description of one city stands between Azeroth and eternal darkness. Watch as Xal'atath's ravenous void armies descend upon Silvermoon in our newest cinematic trailer, and they give the name again, Intercession. Obviously, Xal'atath is going for the Sunwell, right? Obviously, light versus void, we're definitely going to be seeing that. Now, obviously, my first impressions, right? Anything Blood Elves warms my heart. Again, seeing them in the main spotlight again is perfect and awesome. I mean, obviously, I'm an Alliance character. You know, I'm always Alliance, but Blood Elves is probably the coolest Horde race, in my opinion. Now, when I first, heard that we were going to see an expansion launch trailer that day, I wanted to see something on the scale of Cataclysm, where Deathwing, goes around and just absolutely destroys half of Azeroth. And I was thinking, it would be cool to see the Void Army. I know that we were going to that general area, but I would love to see the Void also invade other areas too. But obviously, I think asking for a full-on invasion of the void may not be here yet. I mean, hopefully we see something like that. I want something that's crazy, right? I mean, with Deathwing like destroying everything, when we saw that Cataclysm launch trailer, it was pretty dang demoralizing. But it made me like want to actually murder that man, right? And we did, right? Now, obviously, where the joke is, where's the feet, right? Obviously, we have a lot of in-game cinematics where her feet are just kind of on display, and it looks like the foot fetish person that works for Blizzard doesn't do the CGI cinematics. They're only in-game cinematics, so looks like they were denied in that. And also the key art, by the way, covers her feet up with a void blueberry, which is kind of funny in my opinion. So I think they're kind of self-aware of all this stuff now. But let me give my impressions. Obviously, I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. It was a great, it gave a good reveal. Now, obviously, it showed the Void attacking Silvermoon, but it didn't really show them really advancing. It was kind of just like a typical war. Think of like Battle for Azeroth, where it was kind of just like, oh, the Horde had their moment, then the Alliance had their moment. It was kind of like that. The Void had their moment where, everyone was getting possessed, whatever. And then Silvermoon had their moment where the Army of Light. That's what I'm thinking about. Obviously this is spoilers coming in here, but I'm assuming you've already watched the cinematic. I'm assuming you already clicked off of this if you haven't watched the cinematic since I'm talking about it. But again, the reason why I give it a 7 out of 10 is just because again, it seemed like it pretty much like someone had their moment. It was pretty cool to see the Army of the Light. That's what I'm calling it right now. Whoever came out of the Sunwell, um, not the Sunwell, but that pool of light. It might have been the Sunwell. I think no, the Sunwell is more in. I actually don't know where we were at that moment. Maybe we were in Silvermoon. Maybe we were in the Sunwell. I know the Sunwell is more up north. Again, maybe some people in the lore can help me with that. I'm not like too familiar with everything, right? I'm not the best at remembering things, right? Now, again, I just want to talk about some of the controversy too, right? So, like with the controversy, a lot of people are saying that the female involved in the cinematic, again, the name is eluding me at this moment, was ugly and plasticky. And I do agree that the quality of the Blood Elves, I think Xal'atath looked perfectly fine. The quality of the Blood Elves compared to Anduin in the War Within reveal trailer was night and day. But to be fair, those rendering wise, there wasn't really much action in the War Within trailer. I actually gave the War Within trailer 5 out of 10 just because there was really no action. It was just kind of like watching Anduin have a PTSD attack, which was fine. It was a good trailer, but I want some action, I want some blood, and I think Midnight definitely gave us that. Now, again, the quality was a little bit less, but people were calling, some people were like, oh, I fixed the character and made them look very generic and Blood Elf. And I've seen a lot of people that are saying that Blizzard is destroying and making ugly women, and it seems kind of crazy. A lot of these men are just kind of basically incels, I think, at this point. And again, I think the people who the person that they created, like, oh, I fixed the character, made him look like a generic Blood Elf, and again, I don't think that is the right way to do it, because again, it just looks too generic, and I think there's no, like, it's just boring, right? What they did, like, again, and plus we're kind of rating people animation on attractiveness, right? So we're rating CGI characters for attractiveness, which is kind of weird. But anyway, it doesn't really matter at this point. Again, 7 out of 10. I would like to see a more of a void invasion. So, guys, that is going to be my honest reaction to this trailer, kind of the start of the talking of all the things that are midnight. Again, just wanted to cover the trailer. I think, does it advance the story of Midnight? Obviously, we now know where we're going to go. We kind of knew where we were going to go. It kind of advanced the story. I would have loved to see more void destruction. Obviously, I don't want to see main characters die in a cinematic like this, but I just want to see a lot more destruction, right? Tell me how bad the void is, right? We know how bad the void is, but show me, right? Don't tell me, show me, right? That type of thing. But overall, 7 out of 10. By the way, I think the best expansion trailer release, honestly, at this point has to be Shadowlands. I know Shadowlands was a flop, but Shadowlands, like destroying the Helm of Domination, shattering the sky, you can't really beat that. You can't have to agree that no matter how much you hate Shadowlands, Shadowlands cinematic was peak, right? Even if you don't like Sylvanas, right? You have to understand that fight between her and Bovar was pretty intense, and also shattering the sky. Are you kidding me? Right? So again, I think that was a 9 out of 10. And but yeah, 7 out of 10 is not bad, honestly. It's better than The War Within. I gave it a 5 out of 10 just because of no action. But quality's dipping, and would love to see more of an invasion. But Unoptimized Fool from The Office, I guess, now I have to say. I'll see you guys next time.